Hi, my name is Kerry Critchlow from RCR Recording Studios. I decided we'd take a break from the production series this week because I had a conversation with my dad over this weekend, and he's been watching my videos, one of the very few that have. And for those who have been watching, I thank you very much. It means the world to me that you're finding my videos helpful in any way. It means a lot to me, and I really do hope they have been helpful to you. My whole goal in doing all of this has been to equip you with the ability, the skills, the know-how to produce and write your own music. And my dad thought I was doing a great job at delivering the technical knowledge, but he said that there was a quality, and you might call it creativity, you might call it inspiration, what have you, but that it's tough to teach. And I wasn't 100% sure I agreed with that. Now, I'm not saying that there's no creativity involved when it comes to music or art or whatever, but I do believe that it's not as important as maybe most people think. And hear me out on this, because I know some of you are probably thinking I'm a crazy person right now for saying this, but I honestly don't know how important creativity is when it comes to creating music. As weird as that might sound. It might sound oxymoronical. I don't know. But hear me out first. Now, maybe I should preface this by saying that there are probably musical geniuses out there that are amazing songwriters that do have this divine gift, this creative aspect that can do things in a way that can mesmerize me and just completely blow wide my whole theory on this. But from my perspective and the way that I write music, I just don't see, or I don't feel, maybe is a better way of saying this. In fact, facts are not necessarily, feelings are not necessarily reality based necessarily. But I feel as though that there's not a whole lot of creativity that goes into what I do, at least not the way I understand creativity. My process, by and large, is going through the scales that we've been working on. You have your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, your 5, your 6, your 7. I'll just take those chords in whatever key. Again, it tends to be pretty random. I just arbitrarily choose a key. Maybe the key is C, maybe the key E. I'm a guitar player, so E, G, C are all great keys to start with, but there's some other fun keys out there too for guitars. But I'll, by and large, choose a random key, and then I'll play a chord, whatever chord that happens to be. And then I'll think to myself, did I like that? And if I did like that, then I'll try a second chord along with the first chord. And if I like that, then I'll go for a third, a fourth, or however many chords I want to have in this song or think are appropriate for this song or what have you. If I don't like the chord, I change it. I pick a different chord. So if I like my first chord, like just arbitrarily, let's just say I play a C chord, and I think, I like that C chord. I think that's a great starting point. And then I'll try another chord, and maybe it's an F, and I think, well, that works, but it's not necessarily what I'm feeling in the moment, so maybe I'll try a different chord. And so I go from a C to a G, and then I think, that's the chord. I think that's the one I want. And it really comes down to asking myself this question, do I like what I'm hearing? And if I like it, I keep going, and if I don't like it, I change something. The same thing is true when I'm coming up with melodies. I will pick an arbitrary starting point. Maybe it's the first degree, the second degree, the third degree, whatever, what have you. And then I'll try another one. And I might play with some rhythmic aspects. I might change up the tempo. I might do things. I'm just constantly playing with things until I can get it to sound like something I like. And I'm constantly just asking myself the question over and over again, do I like this? And that is my creative process. Now, to me, it doesn't seem very creative. It just seems like I'm asking myself a series of questions. Do I like, not even a series of questions, I'm just asking the same question over and over again. Do I like this? Every time I do something, I'm asking myself, do I like this? And if I do, I keep going. I try another arbitrary thing. It really is, to me, pretty random. Now, after a few years of writing music, it maybe becomes a little less random and a little bit more focused, because I've come to understand that there are certain things that will tend to work better than others, but you still need to remain a little bit open-minded to new possibilities. Maybe playing a note outside of the key, it might sound strange, but maybe that strangeness is appealing. I don't know. Music at the end of the day is very subjective, and so I'm not sure that there really is a right way to do things or a wrong way to do things. And I'm just wondering if creativity really has any bearing whatsoever. I guess you could make the argument that music, at the end of the day, is about communicating an emotion or an experience and allowing the listener to feel that same emotion or relate to that same experience. But that kind of comes into play when I'm asking myself, do I like this? Because I might answer that question differently tomorrow than I do right now in this moment. For instance, if I'm in a more melancholy mood, I might gravitate towards chords or melodies that are a little bit more on the sadder side or the more melancholy side. If I'm in a more positive frame of mind, I might decide that I want to have something that's a little bit more upbeat or poppy or energized or whatever. So the mood I'm in and the way I'm feeling at the moment probably does inform my judgment when it comes to, do I like this? But at the end of the day, that's really all I'm doing. I'm just playing something and asking myself, do I like this? Now, you can tell me, maybe in the comments, does that feel like it's a crazy creative process? Do you feel like that you need to have a musical genius in order to ask yourself the question, do I like this or not? Because I might be oversimplifying this. I don't know. Like I said, this whole video really came down to a conversation I had with my dad over how much I was relying on the technical aspects of music in order to equip people with the ability to write. And he thought that there was a missing ingredient there, and that ingredient was the creative process. That it came down to some mind thing. And he's not completely wrong, but I don't think he's completely right either. I think that if you can answer the question, I think if you can answer the question, do I like this, you can write a song if you have the motivation to. I mean, I'm not saying that hopefully if you're watching this video, you're interested in writing music, but I almost want to come to the conclusion, and this might again sound crazy, but I really do believe, perhaps naively, that anyone can write a song as long as they know a few basic concepts, like, how to put a chord together, or how the notes fit into keys. And again, you don't even have to know that really, because there have been plenty of songs out there that change keys or use notes outside the keys, and people think that they're brilliant. And so I don't know, maybe it's a lot easier to write a song than most people actually think it is. Now, that being said, it probably is hard to write a song that has universal appeal, and I think that comes down to maybe a bit of luck, maybe a bit of personal preference. Perhaps you share preferences with enough other people that have that same common preference, that your song becomes popular or becomes largely accepted as good. But no song is universally accepted as good. I mean, even even the Beatles had their detractors, and they were one of the most successful groups of all time. So, no, that there's not a song that is universally loved by everyone in the world. I mean, there are songs that, I'm not going to name them, but there are songs that are very popular with a lot of people that I can't stand. And there are songs that I think are just brilliant and I think are the most amazing songs in the world. And your average person is probably going to think I have poor taste in music when it comes to those songs. And so, like I said, music is very subjective, and I don't know if it really takes a lot of what I would consider. When I think of creativity, I think of divine inspiration, of people that are like geniuses that just know how all the pieces fit together and can just bam, 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 and it's done, the song's written. And maybe I'm naive, maybe I don't really understand creativity at all, but my process is just really asking myself the same question over and over again when I'm writing the song. Do I like this? And the same thing can even apply to lyrics. I will write down a thought, maybe try and put a little bit of rhyme on that, but even then I'm still using like rhyming dictionaries and things like that, and just trying to think, how can I coherently put these words together in a way that makes sense to me and hopefully to other people. But it's, again, asking myself the question, do I like this? And if I don't, I change it, and if I do, I keep going. And maybe that seems a little too simplistic. Maybe you're thinking that there's another key, some kind of magical gift that you have to have in order to write music, but honestly, I can't think of anything that is special about me that doesn't apply to just about anyone that had the motivation or desire to actually just write. If you have it, I think that's the key to writing music. You have to want to write. I think if you want to write music, you can, as long as you are willing to equip yourself with the skills, the technical knowledge, and the technical knowledge doesn't take a long time to learn. We went through some of these things in previous videos where I give you the basics of how to do it. It's all pitch and time. I know it sounds overly simplistic, but that's all music is. It's pitch and time. It's what is the pitch that I'm hearing, and how long does that pitch last? Is it a series of short rhythmic things like da 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 da, or is it longer and more drawn out and have air to breathe? I don't know. I guess I'd be very curious to hear what your guys' opinions are. Please feel free to let me know in the comments for those of you who are watching this video. And next week, my plan is to get into signal flow. And just as a preface to what signal flow is, it's essentially just it has more to do with engineering than production or the art of recording, we'll say. But I think it's a very useful skill for producers to have, because it can open up some avenues once you understand how signal flow works, in order to allow you to make creative decisions when it comes to how you want to process your sounds and make them sound the way you want them to sound. So it'll give you a little bit more creative control over that. And so I'm going to be excited to get into that. But for this week, I hope that this conversation has been interesting. Again, want to hear your thoughts. I know I've repeated that several times, but I am very curious if I'm just crazy and naive, or if other people maybe feel the same way as I do, that music is maybe a little bit more simple than most people think it is. But anyways, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I wish you the best of luck with all your songwriting and your productions. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.